News. News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
KVNU News Time is 4:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by the Duck Hunter. With 6 new weekend COVID-19 deaths reported today, 4,545 Utahns have died from the virus over the course of the pandemic. 236 of them are in northern Utah. A weekend total of 353 new coronavirus infections were reported today by the Utah Department of Health, including 162 cases Friday, 125 Saturday, and 84 on Sunday. The daily case average for the 3 weekend days was 123 cases, and that makes Utah's 7-day average for positive tests at 169 a day. In Cache, Box Elder, and Ridge counties, 54 new positive cases were documented over the entire last week. Within the Bear River Health District, 2,006 people have been hospitalized over the 24 months of the pandemic. The district's northern Utah caseload has reached 51,400. Almost 37,000 of those have been detected in Cache County. BRHD reports 59% of the 186,818 people living in Utah's 3 northern counties are fully vaccinated, and 70% of the population 5 and older have received at least 1 dose. KVNU News Time is 4:06. KVNU weather for tonight. Partly cloudy skies, overnight low tonight in the mid-20s, and then a 50% chance of rain in the afternoon on Tuesday, mostly cloudy, upper 40s. Rain likely Tuesday evening, then a chance of rain and snow after midnight, little or no accumulation, low around 30. Cloudy on Wednesday, becoming partly sunny, mid-40s for the high. It's been to 48. Right now it's 47 at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Adams Wealth Advisors. They want to understand your family, job, hobbies, and goals to earn your long-term financial trust. Visit adamswealthadvisors.com to schedule a time with an advisor today.
John at the Duck Hunter asks, have you ever checked the dryer vent cover on the outside of your home? It could be broken, full of lint, or worse yet, you could have an unwanted guest living in it. John suggests you check your dryer vent today. And if you can't, call John at the Duck Hunter. He'll do a visual inspection, and if needed, run a camera through the dryer vent line to see what's going on in there. For a free consultation, call the Duck Hunter, 770-4813.
We are the Duck Hunter. Breathe better, save money, protect your home. We are the Duck Hunter.
KVNU News Time is 4:08. The parents of Gabby Petito claim in a new lawsuit in Florida that Brian Laundrie told his parents he had killed her before he returned home alone from their ill-fated Western trip in a converted van. The lawsuit filed last Thursday in Sarasota County Circuit Court contends that Laundrie told his parents on August 28th that he had killed the 22-year-old Petito, his fiancée of about a year. Petito's disappearance on the trip and the subsequent location of her body at Grand Teton National Park became a national obsession, augmented by the later search for Laundrie in a Florida swamp. The FBI says he killed himself at that location. And Utah State men's basketball will be making its 34th postseason appearance of all time, including its 10th in the National Invitation Tournament, as the 4th-seeded Aggies will host Oregon in the D. Glenn Smith Spectrum tomorrow night at 7. The game will be nationally televised on ESPN. And tickets for Utah State's first-round NIT game against Oregon went on sale yesterday at utahstateaggies.com. Due to a generous donation, all USU students will be allowed into the game free of charge. KVNU will have game day with Al Lewis and former Aggie great Jalen Moore tomorrow evening at 6, and then after the game at approximately 9 p.m. Right now, 48 degrees. KVNU News Time is 4:09. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
As our world changes, we'll keep you up to date. News Talk KVNU, 102 FM, 610 AM. Also on the new KVNU mobile app.
When the bills from your accident pile up, it's time for you to consider professional legal counsel. Get the Bear, Berenson and Caldwell.
I remember because Berenson and Caldwell helped me get through an auto injury accident. It was not a situation I could have handled on my own. I needed an attorney because I was being harassed. With Berenson and Caldwell, I didn't feel like I had to worry about things. I couldn't deal with the pressure and the stress of it, and he took all that away. I would absolutely recommend them. I would get the Bear.
Visit BerensonLaw.com to instantly connect and receive a free case review of your injury. BerensonLaw.com.
Coming up on the Tuesday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, is the Biden administration staying the course when it comes to the Russian war in Ukraine, or are they going to continue escalation? What does it look like for us? What does it look like for the economy? Plus, Clay, what's next?
Got a couple of guests. Psychologist Mark McDonald on how America suffered from both the viral pandemic and a psychological one. Plus, our buddy Jesse Kelly. All that, Clay and Buck Show. Come hang with us.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cash Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have two guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is a beautiful Monday afternoon here at the Radio Ranch and throughout the Cache Valley. Monday, March 14th. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Williams. Bill Walter here in the studio as well. We'll have a construction update finally coming up in hour 2 of today's show. Cache County Executive David Zook will join us. We'll talk about what the county has planned as far as road construction goes. It's starting. It's not coming. It's starting. I've seen some cones out there already. And got some warm temperatures, but the ground is not quite to that construction point yet. So a few weeks off.
It's mushy. The ground is mushy.
It's pretty wet out there, yeah. And enjoy that while it lasts, because snowpack-wise, moisture-wise for the month, we're still way below average on where we should be. So looking to be a very dry summer again, although not as bad as last year. Last year, if you remember, the drought emergency declared by the governor started.
It was March 1st.
Yeah, it was in March.
Yeah.
And we're not there yet. So drought emergency hasn't been declared yet, but I'm guessing by June, July at the latest, we're back where we were last summer. So fingers crossed we make it at least that long, but a lot of talk still about what exactly can be done about any of this. And of course, we don't control the weather yet, but we do control how much water we use, and some pressure ramping up on the legislature to not just focus on consumers' use of water in homes and yards and things like that, although that's a big part of it. Still, about 80% of our water here in Utah goes to agriculture, and there is a lot of growing of water-intense crops. So pressure mounting on the legislature to explore that from a public policy point of view. A task force created by the legislature during the session has already begun work on exactly this, and they're approaching it from a few different ways. We've got a report out on their initial steps. we'll get to later on here in the hour. To start things off here, I'm going to start off with the weird news. If you had, this was not on my bingo card, not at all. But if you had it on your bingo card, good for you. United States Republican Senator Mitt Romney, in an argument with former presidential candidate and the first Hindu member of Congress in Hawaii, Tulsi Gabbard. They are going at it on Twitter today. Well, it's not fair to say they're going at it. Romney said something. Gabbard did not like it and responded in what was basically a 20-30 tweet rant. And then others pointed out that she was wrong. And Romney's text, though, was he accused Gabbard of treason. Tulsi Gabbard, again, American politician, United States Army Reserve officer, served as United States Representative for Hawaii's 2nd Congressional District up until 2021, first elected in 2012. So she's no stranger to the political scene. She, again, ran for president in 2020 when Democrats had 400 people in that primary. She was not successful and has kind of just sat back since then. Although I'm guessing she's, after dropping out of the presidential race in March of 2020, she is probably not going to be done with politics. She's withdrawn her U.S. House reelection race, or she withdrew her House reelection race in 2021 and has not really filed to run again. But she's remained a well-known figure, a voice in American politics, and makes regular appearances on the cable news networks, although we could have a whole separate conversation about that and who they choose. But Romney tweeted yesterday, Tulsi Gabbard is parroting false Russian propaganda. Her treasonous lies may well cost lives. It was a simple tweet. It was yesterday afternoon, about 3 o'clock, when he tweeted that out. And since, it's been kind of the talk of the political landscape out there. Romney has not really Romney's not really weighed in on this, but what is it that Tulsi said? Well, she tweeted, it is Russian propaganda. She tweeted it almost word for word. And the propaganda is that this claim made by Russia that there are more than 25 U.S.-funded and operated biolabs in Ukraine which have deadly pathogens in their stores. It is not true. It is true that the U.S. does have and somewhat operate biolabs in Ukraine and many other parts of the world. They fund them, basically. But it is not true that there are any deadly pathogens at any of these. And staff of the biolabs actually provided some proof of that last week when the claim was first made by Russian leaders. And then Romney's issue here is that you have a former United States congressman, former service member, and one-time presidential candidate, and well-known person. She has a large following due to her presidential campaign in 2020 on Twitter and Facebook, and he's accusing her of treason. Romney has not elaborated on that or said more. Tulsi Gabbard, on the other hand, as I said, went on a bit of a Twitter rant today. Well, it started last night and has gone into today, and it's up to about 40 tweets, so it's kind of out there. But she is now calling on Romney to resign. She is saying that she's going back to what the U.S. and Ukraine have already admitted to as her proof, which is that there are U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine. That was actually reported back at the 1st of March by CNN and has since been confirmed by several different outlets. CBS Face the Nation did a thing on it. But again, the claim that is coming from Russian leaders that Tulsi has repeated is that the biolabs contain deadly pathogens. And that has been thoroughly debunked at this point. The reason Russian leadership wants to claim this is they're now looking for a retroactive excuse for an invasion that is not at all played out the way Putin thought it would. Or maybe he just didn't care. I don't know. From some of the reports, it seems that Putin thought this would be something over with in a few days. They'd meet little resistance in Ukraine, and the world would be upset but move on quickly. What's instead happened is a couple of weeks of the world continuously ramping up their support, literal and figurative support for Ukraine, and the invasion not going that well for Russia. Stories of bridges that were blown up by Ukrainian resistance fighters to keep troops from being able to easily move into cities they wanted to take. And those bridges collapsing over the weekend because they built them on mud. Issues with equipment, and Russia trying to keep this quiet, but Russia is begging China for help because just a few weeks into this ill-planned invasion, they are running into trouble when it comes to equipment, arms, and more. So this is not a country in the position Putin painted it to be in when it comes to military prowess and strategy and ability. So again, why he chose now and this is something for the history books, and I'm sure maybe one day we'll have an answer. Right now, it remains a bit of a mystery. But again, the talking point that Russia has put out there, Russian leaders have put out there, is sort of, again, looking, they're throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks is basically what's happening. But one of those attempts was to point at these U.S.-funded biolabs and claim there were deadly pathogens there that, so the claim is basically not exact words, but to paraphrase what Russia's implying with this claim made last week by Russian leaders, they're trying to say Ukraine had weapons of mass destruction. And then I'm assuming there would be a follow-up claim by Russian leaders that they had intelligence saying they planned to use them. Again, that's been debunked. There are U.S.-funded biolabs, as Romney has admitted to as well, and has been widely reported at this point. But the idea that there were pathogens that could be used as weapons of mass destruction is not true. And yet here you have a former United States congressperson, former service member, somebody with some credibility, with a large following due to her presidential run in 2020, who is, as Romney said, he's right, parroting the Russia propaganda on Twitter over the weekend. So Gabbard, again, is responding to Romney saying that he is wrong. But again, her proof is just that we know there are U.S.-funded biolabs. She hasn't supplied any proof for her claim that matches the Russia claim that there were deadly pathogens that could be developed into weapons of mass destruction. In fact, she's kind of tried to, looking through her Twitter response to Senator Romney, she's kind of tried to ignore that she said that, actually. But again, Romney is saying that her acts are treasonous. He just right out there with a tweet yesterday afternoon. Tulsi Gabbard is parroting false Russian propaganda. Her treasonous lies may well cost lives. That tweet has now been shared more than 72,000 times in less than 24 hours, or just over 24 hours. And again, Senator Romney has not elaborated or done anything in the media as far as that tweet goes, but accusing Tulsi Gabbard of treason, and Gabbard responding not by defending her propaganda that was propaganda, but by asking Romney to resign, citing the fact that we do know there are U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine. But again, her claim was that there were pathogens that could be used as WMDs of these biolabs, something Russia is also claiming. So you've got Russia and Tulsi Gabbard claiming this is true, and then you have everyone else on the planet saying their intelligence doesn't match that. So Romney calling her treasonous and saying that her choices here may well cost lives, and Gabbard responding with a full-on, just a few hours ago, call for Senator Mitt Romney from here in Utah to resign. Romney, by the way, also over the weekend tweeted this out, said he'd spoken with President Zelensky of Ukraine. He said there in Ukraine, people are dying, freedom is under assault, and his number one request from us is old Soviet jets. The U.S. and NATO should accommodate his request now. Schumer and Pelosi must also put the Ukraine aid bill on the floor Monday for the U.S. to send desperately needed military and humanitarian aid to Ukraine now. waiting on the congressional calendar is unacceptable when people are dying. So a criticism from Romney also saying they're just putting it on the regular work calendar is not going to cut it. He wants Congress to take special action for additional aid to Ukraine. So that's kind of where things were at. But again, the weirdest news, not what I expected on a Monday afternoon. Former Congresswoman and United States Senator, one a Democrat, one a Republican, one a former service member, one Mitt Romney, both former presidential candidates. And Romney accusing Gabbard of treason, Gabbard asking for Romney's resignation. That's where things stand right now. We'll be back right after this.
This is Ty over at Chim Chimney Fireplace. A lot of people hear our name and think we just sweep chimneys. While that is definitely our heritage, we specialize in providing the very best fireplaces and stoves to new and existing homes. We invite you to come see why Lopi Stoves lead the industry in performance and quality. With Fireplace Extraordinaire Fireplaces, we can bring any of your designs to life. From cozy and traditional to sleek and modern, come experience the warmth at Chim Chimney Fireplace in Logan and Brigham City or online at chimchimney.com.
If you're near retirement or thinking about retiring, you probably have questions. How do you make your savings last? How much should you take out and when? You're ready for retirement, but are your finances? Your Edward Jones financial advisor can help you build a strategy to help your finances keep up with your needs over the long haul. You've done what it takes to get there. Now it's time to make the most of retirement. Visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Edward Jones office. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Women can have it all, including heart attacks. But symptoms like jaw pain, nausea, unusual fatigue, dizziness, and backache are often different and more subtle than for a man. The fact is, heart disease is the #1 killer of women. Know the signs. Learn more at getheartchecked.org. From Women's Heart Alliance, in partnership with Women Heart.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Moving away from the international news. Usually we stay away from that entirely here because it rarely, if ever, has a Cache Valley tie or a Utah tie in this case. But for those asking for more information, the local media has covered this. I've linked to some of the statewide newspaper coverage of this, and you can see the tweets. But it's basically everything I read to you word for word there. If you want to see the longer Tulsi Gabbard rant that's gone for the last 12 hours or so, there's a link to that in those stories as well. All right. Logan City Mayor Holly Daines will be joining us on Wednesday's show, and we'll have a chance to talk more about this with her. But this was a story in CacheValleyDaily.com today, and I'm pretty excited about that. There are a lot of cool things happening in Logan, but check it out. Charlie Schill, who joins us every Thursday for the theater hour here, has a news story up at CacheValleyDaily.com on some of these changes in Logan. And, of course, it's all focused on what we know is going on or what you can see that's going on already with that Emporium building coming down, the library building down, all those changes. The third north block finally underway as far as getting rid of some of that blight. Some of those old buildings have just been sitting there empty for years and years. So as you drive down Main Street, you can see there are a lot of things happening in downtown, and that's obvious. What isn't obvious is that there are some pretty major road projects planned by Logan City as well. These are large projects aimed entirely at improving traffic. And sadly, Logan City does not control Main Street Logan. So my much harped about and lifelong desire to see a physical median running at least most of the way down Main Street Logan, that's something Logan City can't do. What they can do, though, is handle traffic flow on alternate routes. So some of the plans we've discussed with Mayor Daines before here on the show what she called traffic flow enhancements to the city's southern gateway, that east-west corridor kind of thing. The east corridor has, for the most part, been underway and mostly completed for a while now. The west corridor, though, there were a few hitches in that. Turning First West into a major artery for traffic had a couple of different street layout challenges. Roads that come to a weird intersection, or even at the south end of town, First West comes to a T intersection, and there was an LDS church building there, but work is underway. It's a major construction project, and the end result of this is they will connect 100 West to US 8991. The way this is going to work is that T intersection on First West is going to change, but then there will be a curvature to the road, and it is going to require a new bridge over the Logan River, and then a new road from 5th South to the highway, a brand new road from 5th South to the highway. So this was brought up by the mayor in the State of the City address, in 2022's State of the City address a couple of months ago, and then we talked to her about it here on the show. What wasn't announced at the time is that this would begin. Work is already underway, and again, this is probably one of the most major road projects since 10th West to take place in Logan. Most of the other changes have been incremental changes to First East, for example. Incremental changes like a widening here, a changing of the timing, or even removal of a traffic light or stop sign there. When it comes to First West, though, this is actually moving buildings, taking buildings down, rerouting roadways, and of course, again, the highest part of the price tag probably, this bridge that's going to go over the Logan River to eventually connect First West directly to 8991. And so at that point, on that west side, where most of the traffic coming into the valley is going to be the most impacted, you'll have both 10th West for those completely circumventing Logan entirely and headed north for whatever reason. Then you'll have First West for those who are still coming to Logan, but they don't need to go through the south end of town or downtown. Maybe they're headed to 14th North or 10th North, something like that. So you'll have First West that'll serve as sort of a pressure release valve for Main Street, just like First East already does. And First East, I don't know if you've been on the road recently, Bill, but it was like there was a moment where the light bulb came on for all of Cache Valley. It was sort of like this best-kept secret for a while. A couple of months after they finished that road and the construction was done, where you could you could get from the mall area to the Y to all the way to downtown and even into Providence in minutes.
And 90% of the people were like, "What? First East goes through now?"
Yeah. It was, honestly, just a quick drive. Well, now everyone's discovered it. So afternoons, the traffic.
Well, they have the stoplight there now at 300 North.
Yeah.
Or 300 South, make that.
That helped quite a bit.
Yeah.
And but it's still a nice. In fact, most people I know who work in Logan but live in Providence or Millville or Hiram or Nibley, they take that road out of town because they're leaving work and their only destination is headed home, and that's their preferred route. Now there will be two. First West, well, not now, but soon there will be two. First West connecting to the highway will also allow people a more direct route out of town, out of Logan, that doesn't involve Main Street in the afternoons. And again, that was the only thing we didn't discuss that day. There were some questions about when things would actually begin. They do have to get a lot of different thumbs up approval for the bridge itself, where it's going to impact a river, and work is underway.
Well, now, and two, I don't know if you mentioned this already, but they had talked about making 100 East and 100 West at one point one-way streets, alternating one-way streets. So
my understanding is that is the end goal, and that excites me because this is something you see a lot in Salt Lake now, but way back in the day when I was a college kid, I went to school in Eugene, Oregon, University of Oregon, and Eugene, Oregon has a downtown Main Street that is walking only. They actually have barricades. You can't take a car to any of the stores downtown.
Sweet. So
the store fronts and that what you see driving down Main Street, those types of storefronts, they actually faced an outdoor walking mall kind of brick paved walkway. And it was really cool, and it invited people to come down there and hang out, and we did all the time. And then on the back sides of the stores, where most of the stores also had an entrance, there was one lane of parking, along the strip. But then you had these two major roads that were directional, one-way traffic. And so it was kind of a pain if you were headed to one of the stores downtown and you missed it. You had to ride the loop.
Yeah.
They called it. You had to go all the way to the end, circle back to the other end, and then come back at it again. So, but, I mean, we're talking minutes of inconvenience at most, even on a bad traffic day. It really kept things flowing. Logan doesn't have the same layout as Eugene, Oregon, so there's never going to be an option to just close a chunk of Main Street. And, of course, UDOT will always call that shot anyway. They're never doing that.
Yeah, you have a federal highway that goes right down through the center of town.
That won't be an option like Eugene could do, but what you could see is, these bidirectional one-way streets that just keep traffic moving a lot more quickly. And what that also means is you're going to have to reduce bottlenecks. You're going to have to reduce stops on those one-way streets that are intended to keep traffic flowing. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we see long-term some changes just in and outside of downtown as far as number of stoplights go. First West or First East, you still hit a light every street as you come up the hill there from Center Street on, and so you'll probably see that change. Actually, I guess it's First South on, no, Center Street. Yeah. So if you're coming up First West from the south, First East from the south, we might see some of those lights go away. So far, people have been asking, but so far there are no direct plans to do that. I'm just guessing that will be the end result of this. But
it's pretty amazing. I moved to Grand Junction, Colorado in the mid-'70s, and about that time, Grand Junction may have just been a little bit bigger than Logan. But maybe the city was a lot bigger at the time, although Logan's caught up. But in the 70s, they had one-way streets there, and so when I moved to Logan eons ago, I was it's kind of surprising not one-way street.
I think it's long overdue, honestly. But again, the surprise here is that it's already underway. We all knew this was coming. Again, the mayor talked about it in her State of the City address a couple months ago, and she discussed it with us here on the show as well. But there was a lot up in the air still as far as when they'd be able to start and how much progress they could make. Again, there's still a ways off on that bridge is going to be a big hang up in all this, not to any fault of Logan's, but that's going to take a while. That's going to, of course, require a lot of approval that they mostly have, as I understand it now. They know they'll get the approval, but there's still, there's paperwork and bureaucracy involved, several different agencies, including state. So that's going to take a while, but it's underway. Construction crews last week started making First West jog. First West will jog a half block east at 6 South and then connect with a brand new roadway that's not yet built, but it is laid out. You can see where the road will go behind that new Adams Wealth development that's right on Main Street. And that new thoroughfare will stretch south over the Logan River and then eventually connect with US 8991 just a bit north of the dog park area, basically. So that's going to be nice, actually.
So another stoplight down in that direction?
Yeah, I'm thinking that there's going to be a stoplight just before that McDonald's Walmart stoplight, if you're coming into the valley. So there's probably going to be a stoplight there somewhere, but I'm not sure. That part hasn't really been laid out. I did check with UDOT, though, and we'll be speaking with them later on in the week. I reached out to UDOT and said, as Logan makes all these changes, what does UDOT have planned as far as the highway and Main Street Logan? Are you keeping up with Logan's making a lot of progress here? Is UDOT keeping up? They got a little defensive on the phone call, I'll be honest, even though I didn't mean anything by it. But they said, rest assured, they are. So This overall project, by the way, funded by $4.1 million in grant money from UDOT, and will make, alongside the road, we'll also have some bike lane connections, and pedestrians through a tunnel bridge under Main Street will also be able to travel and connect those trail systems. So it's pretty cool. In the end, when this is done, not only will you have a second roadway that's meant for just direct in and out traffic, like First West, or First East, you'll now have that on First West, but while this is all being done, the project will also in the end connect what is a total of 17 miles of Logan City trails that are currently separated by Main Street. So pretty cool stuff. Check it out. Full story on this at CashValleyDaily.com. The construction officially this week underway on First West, which will be a second major thoroughfare through Logan City, like First East already is. We'll be back right after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 4:41, and the news is brought to you by Northern Steel Buildings. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas says he's worried about efforts to politicize the court or add additional justices. He says it undermines the institution's credibility among young people. Thomas spoke Friday at an event in Utah hosted by former Republican U.S. Senator Orrin Hatch's foundation. He also blasted members of the media for scrutinizing his wife's conservative political activity. Thomas did not reference the future of Roe v. Wade, the landmark 1973 Supreme Court decision that extended abortion rights throughout the country. The court is set to rule this year on several hot-button political issues, including abortion, guns, and voting rights. Legislation banning abortions in Idaho after 6 weeks of pregnancy by allowing potential family members to sue a doctor who performs one is headed to the governor. The House voted 51-14 today to approve the legislation, modeled after a Texas law that the U.S. Supreme Court has allowed to remain in place until a court challenge is decided on its merits. Opponents of the Idaho legislation say it's unconstitutional, and 6 weeks is before many women know they are pregnant. Governor Brad Little last year signed a similar so-called fetal heartbeat measure into law, but it has not taken effect because it needs a favorable federal court ruling. And there truly is an app for everything, including roadkill in Wyoming. A new phone app is making it easy for folks to claim and get permission to salvage and eat freshly killed animals struck by vehicles. More than half of U.S. states allow people to claim roadkill to eat. Wyoming joined the list this winter, rolling out the app so people can legally claim dead deer, elk, moose, antelope, and turkeys right from the roadside. Wyoming's abundant wildlife make it deadly for critters on roads. The new app aims to help by collecting data on which roads are the deadliest for wildlife. KVNU News Time is 4:43.
The planet Earth has been rotating around the sun for 4.5 billion years. Since the dawn of man, we have been crafting and refining tools to dig into the Earth's surface.
Ooh, me dig. Oh, me tired.
But it wasn't until today that digging could be so much fun.
Ooh, me digging this.
Northern Steel Buildings will dig for you. Have them build you a hay barn, shop, warehouse, or if it's time to expand your business with a new facility, they'll move the earth around to make it happen. See their work online at northernsteelbuilding.com.
KVNU weather tonight, partly cloudy skies, mid-20s, 50% chance of rain by Tuesday afternoon, mostly cloudy, upper 40s. Rain likely Tuesday evening, chance of rain and snow after midnight with little or no accumulation, low around 30, and then becoming partly cloudy on Wednesday, mid-40s. It's been to 51, and right now we have 47 at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Roof Rescue. Even if you are denied by your insurance company the first time you receive a quote to fix your roof, a free reevaluation can be made. Visit roofrescueusa.com to schedule your free consultation. That's roofrescueusa.com. Roof Rescue, providing watertight peace of mind. You can always get more news at CashValleyDaily.com. Let's check Wall Street now with Edward Jones.
Good afternoon. This is Raydale Gibbons bringing you the Daily Financial Markets Report on behalf of financial advisor Mike Arnold and Edward Jones for Monday, March 14th. Equity markets started this week with a decline, with volatility remaining elevated. Early morning optimism around the Russian and Ukraine talks reversed, giving way to weakness in the tech-heavy NASDAQ. Oil fell 7% to 101, adding to last week's 5.5% pullback amid hopes for a diplomatic solution in the Ukraine. Today, the Dow closed flat at 32,945. The NASDAQ closed down 263 points today at 12,581. And the S&P 500 closed down 31 points at 4,173. And in the bond market, the 10-year Treasury yields are trading at 2.14% higher. The price of crude oil today was down $7.44 at $101.89, and the price of gold was down $28 to $1,957. For stocks of local interest, Autoliv closed up $1.09 at 74.81. Chevron's down $4.18 at 166.72. Dominion Energy is down 94 cents at 81.32. Home Depot's up $1.57 at $318.36. Kroger's down 47 cents at 55.42. Lowe's is up $4.30 at 226.51. McDonald's is down 69 cents at 226.18. Microsoft's down $30.63 at $276.44. Nucor is down $3.20 at 132.5. Philip Morris is up 72 cents at 89.59. And Walmart stores closed up $1.98 and $144.05. This has been today's Financial Markets Report, brought to you on behalf of Edward Jones, a member of the SIPC, with financial advisor Mike Arnold, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice, located at 135 North Main, Suite 102 in downtown Logan. If you'd like additional information, please contact our branch office at 753-2915. Daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
Ultimate power, ultimate potential. Now everyone can discover that Ski-Doo feeling with the new 2023 Ski-Doo Deep Snow Sleds. Available with the all-new Rev Gen 5 platform and Turbo R engine, bringing you the best power-to-weight ratio in the game. Plus, discover a whole new range of models for every rider, including the new Summit Neo Plus, built ready for your first time. The only question we have, who's coming for a ride? Pre-order yours today and discover that Ski-Doo feeling. Restrictions apply. Customer offers vary based on creditworthiness. See dealer for details.
Hey everybody, this is Ryan from My Mattress. I wanted to give you an update on Lewiston and their sleeping habits real quick. They're doing amazing. They're sleeping in style. They're buying more beds than they ever have, but there is a little confusion with the citizens, and they've hired a sleep doctor. And here are the questions they're getting asked. Are you drinking caffeine late at night? Are you going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time each morning? And do you have a mattress from My Mattress? Our invitation is still here, Lewiston. Buy a mattress from My Mattress today and sleep better tonight.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. For those interested in more detail on that road construction, major project begun here in Logan on making First West into a corridor like First East. Full story on that at CashValleyDaily.com with additional details. Again, the mayor mentioned it in her State of the City address, but there were a lot of questions still on exactly how all this would work, and it's underway. They started last week. The weather is playing along as far as things like that go, but it's not playing along as far as snow melt and things like that. So checked in with our friends at the Utah Avalanche Center. They have a message out today that because of the warming temperatures, in some areas of the state, there's still enough snow that people are still planning, for a few weekends to come yet, some snowmobile trips. And they want to let people know that though the avalanche danger has been, the warnings have been less frequent this winter, mainly due to the long gaps between snows. There is still some danger out there, so our friends at the Utah Avalanche Center asked we'd throw this out today, that if you are planning to go out, and again, the areas you can go on a snowmobile where there's enough snow to have a good time at least are shrinking. There's still quite a few of them out there. But there is some risk as these temperatures warm and you get, extremely cool nights like we had late last week, followed by extremely warm days like we had today. What you have is this plate effect on snow where you have it freezes solid in single-digit temperature. And then even just a dusting of new snow on top of that. And then a 40-degree day a couple of days later. And what happens is things become very unstable. So just a warning, if you're out there, be smart about it. Utah Avalanche Center says most snowmobilers are aware of the high-risk areas. And those high-risk areas are at this current state a bit deceptive. Because of the reduced snow volume, people can get a little cocky. Their words, not mine, but I thought it was a great way for them to say it. So don't get cocky out there if you're going out snowmobiling this weekend. But I also understand if you're going out snowmobiling because based on the weather today and the snow we've seen or not the last month and a half, you might be feeling a little like taking advantage of it before it's gone, right? So,
because it will be gone.
Yeah, it's probably going to go fast. But, we might have a little more coming. We might have, I don't know, I'm still, fingers crossed, we're at the halfway point here, but it's still fingers crossed that March didn't come in like a lion, like I'd hoped for. I wanted to get over with early, but it could still go out like a lion. Weather patterns aren't really playing along with that possibility, but things can change, right, Bill? I mean,
Yeah.
This could shift overnight, maybe.
Well, I mean, we got several storms this week coming in. None of them look, super impressive, but at least, it's something.
Yeah. It's at least some moisture, but yeah, again, things aren't looking as bad as they were this time last year, but things aren't looking great in general. With that in mind, the Great Salt Lake has been getting a lot of attention lately with the legislative session, talking about this throughout the session, this $40 million slush fund basically that they've set up and which is now a thing for rescuing, restoring, saving, whatever word you want to use there, the Great Salt Lake. It's money well spent if they spend it right. As Nathan Doggs of the Cache Water Conservancy District told us, there are some ways they could choose to spend that $40 million to save the Great Salt Lake that could actually really hamper water plans here in northern Utah. And so they're keeping a close eye on all of that and will be a part of those discussions. But with all the focus on the Great Salt Lake, there really wasn't a lot of talk about a lake that I think most people not in Cache Valley think of as an Idaho lake. But here in Cache Valley, we know that the Bear Lake is at least half a Utah lake. And people got asking, where are where are things at as far as Bear Lake goes? Well, first off, Bear Lake hasn't over the years suffered as much as the Great Salt Lake when it comes to water that's taken out and damage to its overall ecosystem. There have been tough years. If you've lived here your whole life, you remember years when lake water was almost to the road there on the East Beach. Other years when you had to hike a football field and a half before you even got to the shallow water, across hot sand that always got in the flip-flops. So variables are kind of a part of Bear Lake in general because of, a lot of different reasons. Of course, water coming in, but also the amount of water we're taking out. But overall, the lake has remained healthy. Coming up Thursday, March 31st, at the Garden City Convention Center in the Lakeside Room there. March 31st at 6 p.m., it's a Thursday, over there in Garden City, there will be a State of the Lake event. Fisheries staff from the Idaho Department of Fish and Game and representatives of Utah's Division of Wildlife Resources have collaborated and will be there to share updates on their collaboration on the overall health of Bear Lake. The State of the Lake public meeting, again, will take place March 31st at 6 p.m. at the Garden City Convention Center in the Lakeside Room. That's, by the way, 69 North Parkway in Garden City. And Scott Tolentino, a fisheries biologist stationed at Bear Lake, said he told CashValleyDaily.com they hadn't held a meeting like this for more than 10 years, and he's a 30-year veteran of the Department of Wildlife Resources. CashValleyDaily.com's Rod Bohm had a chance to speak with them all ahead of this, and he told Rod, again, you can read this story via the link on our Facebook page or at CashValleyDaily.com. He told Rod Bohm, Idaho holds a lot more meetings than this than Utah does. Utah has kind of put it aside, and that has changed this year because of the drought last year, and that's a good thing. He said, we thought both agencies should sit down and talk about their various studies and research on the lake and plans for the future and sync things up. Said it could eliminate a lot of disinformation, and people at the meeting will get it straight from the horse's mouth. As far as disinformation goes, it happens every year, but anglers and other community members interested in the status of Bear Lake fishery are definitely encouraged to attend because that's where a lot of the rumors and myths have built up. Biologists from both the Idaho and the Utah divisions will share population trends and ongoing management work plans, master plans for lake management and more, as well as go over the state of fish in a popular fishing lake. Tolentino told Bohm that they give a formal PowerPoint presentation on the different fish populations. That will be a part of it. But most of this, he said, is going to be dedicated to ongoing research and discussion and getting feedback from the public on a Bear Lake master plan for wildlife and lake management. So 2 different agencies, one from Idaho, one from Utah, will be sitting down in the State of the Lake public meeting March 31st, 6 p.m. at the Garden City Convention Center. And a full story on this from CashValleyDaily.com's Rod Bohm, linked on our Facebook page or right there on the front page at CashValleyDaily.com. We'll be back right after this.
What is community? It's Friday Night Lights with laughter as post-game commentary. It's fun runs, fun rakes. It's passing the boot for local heroes. And it's breaking ground for groundbreaking startups. This is what makes a community. And it's what makes a community bank. It's fertile financial resources turned back into local soil. Here's to people helping others thrive. This is community banking. D.L. Evans Bank, since 1904. Member FDIC.
I'm Larry Gelwigs, the getaway guru with Morris Columbus Travel and Celebrity Cruises. It's our spring cruise sale with 25% off cruises and airfare, plus free drinks, free Wi-Fi, and free prepaid gratuities on most Celebrity Cruises through March 2023. And for the best travel deals on the planet, give us a call at Morris Columbus Travel.
Come on and get away, Morris Columbus.
Ah, that's better. Trade in the stresses of building a new home for relaxation. Visionary Homes Priority is giving you a stress-free building experience. Named the best home builder in northern Utah, Visionary Homes team will guide you seamlessly through the home building process. Call today, 435-228-4702, or visit visionaryhomes.com to learn more about upcoming communities in Nibley, Logan, and Smithfield. Visionary Homes, built for living, built for you.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. China has tried to stay on the sidelines during Russia's invasion of Ukraine. What happens if Beijing lends a hand to Moscow? Also, with inflation soaring and Russia's war with Ukraine, are we seeing increased odds of a recession? Here are the signs to watch for, and the mistakes that too many new investors are making. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Wrapping up hour 1 here, but stay tuned. Coming up in hour 2, Cache County Executive David Zook will be joining us. We'll be talking about all things Cache County, including what they have planned as far as spring and summer road construction goes. It's already underway out there as well, you may have noticed. So we'll have a chance to discuss that. If you have questions or comments, of course, you can join us, 753-5868. Cache County Executive David Zook joining us in hour 2 of today's show. One last note here for hour 1. I've posted these to our Facebook page, but you've probably been following it. You've probably heard the news. I just wanted to highlight this one. So on the Facebook page, check out the Utah Department of Health report today on COVID-19 spread in Utah. Things are definitely headed in a good direction. with all of this. Positivity rates, the testing's still a little sketchy. At one point we were testing about 30,000 a day. We're now testing about 54 or 5,500 a day, but still, that small sample size aside, the numbers are way, way down. We haven't seen numbers this low since May of 2020. Thumbs up. Hour